Yeah, good morning, Renuka. How many has completed the pattern question? So if at all the pattern has been solved, you can post your answers in chat box. Yesterday I guided you how to print this right angle triangle. The only thing you're supposed to implement is we should see how to place that values alone. Have you people tried it? Yeah, come on, respond me. Have you tried it? If at all you have tried it, you can post in the chat box. Okay, people got the logic. Have you tried the code? The code is hardly only of 4 lines, not more than 4 lines. Shall we try here? I guess none of you people has did this one. Okay, we'll try here. So what is your question? If your n value is given as 4, we'll try this and we'll complete dictionary by morning session. Okay. Your answer should be like this: 3, 2 and followed by 6, 5, 4 and followed by 10, 9, 8, 7. This should be answer. Now, let us write logic for it. We know how to draw this triangle pattern. So, for triangle pattern, what you are supposed to do? First, we should know what is the n value. We'll accept n value from the user. And after this, we are supposed to have a loop for I in range of, we'll have from 1 till n plus 1. This is your condition for a number of rows. As I said you yesterday, first row, second row, third row, fourth row. So 4 rows is there. So I'm going to execute my outer loop is for row. Here guys, I mentioned this I for row. It doesn't mean that you should use only I. You can use any variable. It's up to you. Okay. I can mention row here. Just a variable. And I can mention for column in range of, so how many times your column is there? For first row 1 column, for second row 2 column, for third row 3 column. So what is the condition we mentioned? Starting from 1 to I plus 1. So if I give I plus 1 only, it will go till I. So what happened? For the first row 1 column will be executed, 1 times this loop will be executed. For second row 2 times will be executed. For third row 3 times this particular second loop will be executed. Guys, don't think this as keyword. This is just a variable name I given row column for your understanding. Okay. Now what do you want to print? I want to print some data. So okay, I want to, yeah, it should be row plus 1, not I plus 1. Okay, I want to print some data. Right now we'll keep some element called counter. Initially my count value is 1. So let us assume I want to print value of count and followed by ends with space. And followed by, I told you that after printing one row I want line break. You can give just print alone. That's sufficient. Now if I execute, if I give 4, you can notice that this pattern is formed. But all the places is replaced with only value called 1 since I did increment this count value. This count value remains as such, so it is being as 111. If at all I'm trying to increment this counter plus assign 1. I told you that this is equivalent to arithmetic assignment operator. We have seen it. Count is equal to count plus 1. So if I give 4, now you can notice that you're getting pattern 1. Initially count value is 1, 1 will be printed, then increment 2 prints, then this particular process continues. So 2 and 3 will be printed, and for first next iteration 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So just I'm initializing this count value and printing it, incrementing for each and every iteration. So what happened? The series 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is printed. But actually what is our need? Our need is not to print this particular row like this. I want to print this data in a reverse order. Okay. So what did we see? So the value 1 is taken here. Value is 1. So if you want to make this as 3, you're supposed to add. So this is the one you sent, right, Harsha? The pattern. This is the pattern. Yesterday's also you sent me. Okay, I'll see to it, Harsha. Okay. Okay, I'll see to it. Okay, fine. So if you want to bring this 1 to 3, after printing 1, I want to print 3. So what should I do? I should add 2 to 1. The same way here, what is the number? The last number is 2. So after printing 2, I should print 6. So I should add existing value plus 4. So after printing 4, the last number is 4. After printing 4, I should make it as 10. So it is nothing but add 6 to it. It will become as 10. Okay, the same way it continues. After printing 7, what will I print there? I should add 8. I'll print 15 for the next row. If the next row is there, I will be printing 15. This is the logic behind it. Take this number. After printing number, what should I do? I should print 3. So if you want to make 1, 2, 3, I should add 2. It's nothing but your first row into 2, into 4, into 6, and into 8. So what I can do is I can do one operation here, which is nothing but, I guess you people are clear till this, but I don't want this to print it like this. I want in a reverse order. So after printing my count, okay, after printing my count, I'll do one step here. That is nothing but count is equals to, right now let me erase this one. Count is equals to count plus, what is our row? Say how to form this 2, which is nothing but 1 into 2. 2 can be formed. And here, what is this? 2 into 2. 4 will be formed. And here 3 into 2, we know that will form 6. The same way 4 into 2 will form 8. So this 1, 2, 3 is nothing but first row, second row, third row, fourth row. So just multiply 2 with the row count, you will get this value. So what I'll do is, what is our row? We know that row has value 1, 2, 3. So row into 2. Got it? So just I'm for the after I'll start this with 1, I'll print 1. So when I'm coming with the next step, I'll start with row value is 1, 1 plus, sorry, count value is 1, 1 plus, for the first iteration, 1 plus your row value is 1. So 1 into 2. It'll be printed. Clear with it? So our process is not completed. The reason is, if I'm adding, you will get 3. So when 1 also will be printed perfectly and we'll get 3. For the next iteration, 3 will be printed. After printing 3, what should I do? I should decrement my 3 value to 2. So before doing this operation, what should I do is, I should decrement my value. So I'll decrement count is equals to count minus 1. So fine. Now I'll show you the process. Initially when I value is 1, 1 will be printed. So after printing 1, your count value will become as 0 here. But what should I do? I should add along with 1 here, right? I should not add along with 0. I should add value only along with 1. The same way after printing 2, this count value, if you keep on decrementing, your count value will become as 1. This is for your first iteration, guys. For the second iteration, what happened? You will be printing for second iteration. After printing 1, let us assume this step is not there. What happened? After printing 1, you are adding 1 plus 1 into 2. So what happened? You will get 3. So 3 will be printed. Then you will be decrementing it. Then 2 will be printed. So when this condition will get failed, this particular count value will become as 1. So I don't want add this 4 along with 1. I want to add along with 2. So before going to next step, I should increment my count value. The reason is one step extra minus will be done. After printing 1, this decrement happens, it will become as 0, but actually I don't want to add 2 along with 0. I want to add along with 1. So I have to increment it. So this decrement is required since after printing 3, the next value should be 2. After printing 6, the next value should be 5, 4. This process should be decremented. That is the reason for each and every printing of column I'm decrementing. This decrementation happens till, just a minute, I'll write in a marker. So here this decrementation happens till 0, this decrementation happens till 1, this happens till 3, and this happens till 6. So when you're trying to add, I want to add this 2 not with 0, I want to add with 1. So that is the reason here I'm trying to increment it. So when you're continuously decrementing, you'll get 1 will be printed, then 0 will be coming. I don't want to add along with 0 to get the next number. I want to add along with the 1. So I'll just increment one step. The same way, if I keep on decrementing, it reaches 1. So for if you want to get 6, I want to add 4 along with 2, not with 1. So that is the reason I'll increment it and try to do this operation for your row. This operation is for your next row. So before going to next row, I'll increment my counter by 1, then I'll multiply it. Is this clear for you people? So now look at here. We got this pattern. Is this clear? Guys, it is very simple. I told you how I've given you step by step process how to form this one. Come on, respond me so that we can move on to next one. If at all you have any doubt. What is that out of topic, Harsha? What is the question you get yesterday? From which topic? In assessment? Did you know the topic, guys? No. Frequency. It is from list, right? Oh, it is from dictionary. Okay, okay. Functions and dictionary. Actually, functions and dictionary has to be taught today. Okay, okay, okay. Don't worry. We'll continue by today. Okay, we'll complete these functions and dictionary by today. I'll intimate them. Okay, I'll intimate them regarding this. Okay, guys. I guess you people are clear. After when you're completing this session, just remind me. I'll give you one or two pattern questions. Meanwhile, you can solve. You can try with this one. Okay. Yes, that's the reason. I'll speak to them. MCQs also there. Okay, guys, you can do one thing. You can log on to this Infosys website, infotq.infosys.com. There you can find the MCQs is there. You can try work with it. Okay, infosys.infotq.com. Have you logged in already there? Are you people there? Are you aware of this? Infotq? No idea. Okay. Just this is a material which is you'll be having materials along with the MCQ questions will be available here. Just you can log on to infotq.infosys.com. You can find topics, and along with the topics you'll be finding MCQs also. You can start practicing MCQs there, guys. Okay, Harsha, we'll discuss those questions by evening. Okay, I didn't see the mail. I'll see to it and we'll discuss by evening. Right now we are having only 45 minutes is left over. We are supposed to complete dictionary now. Just log on to this website. Okay, log on. No, not now, guys. Just you can note down this website and later on you can log into it and you can see the materials will be provided by Infosys itself for each and every topic. And apart from this, for each and every topic after completing, you can find MCQs available. You can go through it so that you'll be getting idea about how the MCQs will be there. Okay, fine. We'll move on to next topic, dictionary. So I told you yesterday itself how the representation of dictionary is done. Your dictionary is done with the representation of braces. So we know that if I give braces like this, by default its type is dictionary type. It is not a set type. When you're seeing with the set, we are seen with. Here, when you're comparing with the other data type, what is the difference between dictionary and the other collection type? When you're seeing with the other collection type, those are a single elements, collection of single elements. But in case of dictionary, it is not a collection of single element, it is a collection of key value pairs. You will be having values like key and value. The data will be like this. So what we've seen, just I'll give you a recap here. If at all you're mentioning as a list, it will be mentioned by using bracket. And if it is of tuple, you'll be mentioned by using parenthesis. If it is of set also, I'll mention as braces. So all this thing is a collection of single values followed by the commas, collection of single values. And now we are going to see with the dictionary, that is a collection of key value pairs. Dictionary is given with the braces, and this is not a single value. These are key value pairs. For each and every key we'll have a corresponding values. So even we can have each and every key has a corresponding value mapped to it. Okay, so if at all you want to create an empty dictionary, I can create by using empty braces here. This is how to create an empty dictionary. Okay, if you want to initialize a dictionary along with the value, how can I do it? We can mention my dictionary, and here if I want to initialize value, just for your understanding, let me give you. I'll be giving like this, name, Sugan. Okay, and I can have some data, emp id followed by 1 2 3. So here when I'm saying with the dictionary, the data is treated as a key value pass. This is a key and this is a value for it. This is how to initialize a dictionary along with the value. First is key along with the value. Now before going to this initialization, I'll show you people how to add a value to the dictionary. Here if at all the dictionary is an empty dictionary, if you want to add some values, we'll see how to add it. Right now let us keep my dictionary 1 is the empty dictionary which is available. I want to insert value to it. In those cases, you can insert in this way. Just a minute. My dictionary 1 followed by a key should be passed. As I told you that dictionary is a key value pass. The values are given like this. First is your key and next is followed by your value 1. Comma separator followed by key 2 followed by value 2. So this key and value can be of any data type. There is no rule that key should be of string or integer. It can be of any data type. This is how your dictionary data are stored. Key and value. It will never occur individually. It will occur only as a pair. So when if I want to insert data to this empty dictionary, I can insert like this. Names, for example, I can insert like this. Let me use some other data. 1 assign 1. My dictionary 1 followed by, let me give 2 assign number 2. Okay, right now just print and show you this my dictionary. You can look at here. If this is an empty dictionary, if at all you want to insert value for the dictionary, you can pass like this. As I told you that whenever it's a dictionary, I'll have a key value pair. Here ONE1 is taken as a key. Your key is ONE1, which is a string, and your value here is number 1. So whenever I want to initialize this data, I can initialize like this. If there is an empty dictionary, if you want to insert value to it, I can initialize like this. And moreover, if you want to initialize multiple values directly, instead of inserting one by one, I want to initialize directly during a declaration. In those cases, you can give like this: my dictionary assign first key value pass and comma separator followed by the next key value pass. You can give like this. Okay, you can give multiple values. There is no rule that you should have only these many values. You can have any number of values, but make sure that whatever the data you are giving, everything should be given inside a key value pass like this. So now if I call my DICT, you can notice that this dictionary value will be initialized. So we have seen so far how to create an empty dictionary and how to insert value to it and how to create a dictionary along with a value. Till this, are you people clear? Come on. So we are seeing just how to declare alone. Okay, fine. Now the same dictionary can be declared in a other way. In a multi-line also I can declare it. My dictionary to assign. Here we are declaring the statement in a single line, right? The same data can be given in a multi-line also. Initializing multi-line is also possible. Okay. This is also possible. Even this means the same meaning. So it can be done in either single line or it can be done in a multi-line. So far we have seen declaration and initialization. So apart from this approach, there is one more method to declare the empty dictionary. So we have seen just by mentioning parentheses, I can able to just by mentioning braces, I can able to declare an empty dictionary, right? The same way, I can create a dictionary by using DICT method. As we declare set, I can declare empty dictionary by using DICT predefined function. I guess you people could remember. For set, what we did, my set assign, we have mentioned set of. So this is nothing but declaring a set by using set function. This set is a predefined function. By using set function, you did it. Okay, the same way the dictionary can be empty dictionary can be initialized by using DICT method. It is like this: my DICT assign DICT. So this DICT is a dix function. This is a dictionary function. Now if you are giving type of my DICT, you can notice that what is the type will be printed. So by default also is a dictionary, the dictionary only. Here if you want specifically as a dictionary, you want to use a dictionary function, you can make use of it. There is no rule that you should only use that or that this. This is also available. This is one of the approach which is available. You can make use of it. Okay. Now I'll show you people how to initialize a dictionary by using this DICT method. So far we have seen directly how to initialize it. Now I'll show you people how to initialize by using this DICT method. So if at all you're going to use this DICT method, so here the initialization will be done inside this parenthesis. I'll be doing like this: name assign Sam. Okay, and let me give age assign 23. You people might have a doubt. Here this name is a string type, but I didn't give any single quotes. Could you notice here? Name is a string type. Previously here if I'm giving name, I'm giving the name in single quotes and sugar in single quotes. Wherever string is there, I have given in a single quotes. You can notice here also. But here in this method, when I'm using this DICT, I'll never use this single quotes here. The reason is the key will never be given in a quotes. It is a keyword. It will be treated as a keyword. It should not be given in a quotes. Keywords are not given in a quotes. Okay, this is also known as keyworded argument type. This is also known as keyworded argument type. So I'll be mentioning keyword and what is the value for it. Only the values will be given in a quotes and the normal keyword will never be given in a quotes. This is all about a dictionary function. Okay, and the same dictionary can be created by using tuples of dictionary. Here there's nothing but the next approach is passing tuples to dictionary. Guys, we are having for dictionary, we are having multiple ways for initialization. Okay, I'll tell you one by one. So far we have seen empty dictionary and initializing a value by using DACT predefined method. Monica, just now I told you how to add user defined value above. Okay, for this method it is not required. Just for your knowledge I am giving. You can add the user defined value by running the loop. By running a key value pair, you can do to it. If at all required, after completion of this dictionary, I'll show you people how to add values for a dictionary one by one. Okay, after completion of this topic, I'll show you guys. By putting a loop, we are supposed to add it. Now we'll see passing tuples to dictionary. So if at all you want to the same approach, guys. This is one of the other approach. My dictionary 3 assign DICT. Here I can pass as a key value pair as a list of tuples. 1 comma Sam and 2 comma 23 and 3 comma Chennai. Okay, this is also one way of declaring a dictionary. Either by can do empty dictionary or with values or by using DACT method or passing as a keyword argument, or you can pass as a key value pass as a tuple. These two values can be passed as a tuple. Now if I call my DACT3, you can notice that this will be treated as a dictionary. 1 is Sam and 2 is 23 and 3 is Chennai. So this is also one way of creating a dictionary. So we have seen different approaches. First we have seen the normal method how to create it, and after this we have seen how to initialize value directly one by one, and how to do initialization a single line, and how to do initialization multiple line, and after this we have seen how to initialize by using DACT method, and we have seen how to initialize by using keyword, and now we have seen how to initialize by using tuples to dictionary. These are the different approaches for initializing a dictionary, guys. Depending upon the requirement, you're supposed to use it. There is no rule that you should use only this method. You can use any one of the method. Okay, and apart from this, dictionary can be formed by using dictionary comprehension. This comprehension is a very important topic. So which optimize your code. Okay, dictionary comprehension is the next topic. So creating a dictionary in a comprehensive way. So whenever we people are seeing with the comprehension, we'll see how to create a dictionary in a comprehensive way. For this creation, for this dictionary, whenever I say comprehension, it will have three parameter. First parameter is your expression, and the next parameter is your iteration, and next parameter is your condition. And this condition is an optional one, it is not a mandatory one. If required, I can apply a condition. It is an optional one. Okay, now I'll show you what is the syntax of implementing this dictionary comprehension. If at all you want to implement this dictionary comprehension, you're supposed to initialize this data for some dictionary, right? Let me give my dictionary as your variable name. And here, this comprehension will be of this format. First is your expression and followed by your iteration and followed by the condition if required. So now let us take a scenario where you want to create a dictionary. So we are seeing creation of dictionary, right? Here we are going to create a dictionary in a comprehensive way. So let us assume I want to create a dictionary like this: 0:0, 1:1, 2:, followed by let us take squares. It will be something meaningful, right? Square and 3:9 and 4:16, which is nothing but Your key is a value and your key is number and value is square. This is a condition. You want to create a dictionary like this. A key is nothing but a number and the value should be square of a number. Square of that number. Okay, I want to create a dictionary like this. I'll show you people how to create a dictionary like this by using comprehensive way. So what is the syntax I told you? Expression, iteration, condition, right? So now let me write the condition here. My dictionary assign. Here, what is the condition? If I want to here, if I normally if you want to do this process 1 to 4, what I'll do? I'll mention for I in range of 5. We'll take this particular range for I in range of 5. And if you want to do square of it, I can mention I comma I power 2. Okay. If I mention like this, you can notice that 1, 1 square, 2, 2 square, 3, 3 square and 4, 4 square. This is a normal for loop which you can generate it, right? Just I'm taking a range from 0 to 4 and just I'm printing as the number and its exponent, which is nothing but power of the number I'm displaying. Now what is our condition? I should create a dictionary with a number and its square. So what is that? The in-between process? In-between process iteration. This is a syntax, expression and iteration. So what is the expression I want to do? I want to do square of the particular number, and here I want to apply the iteration condition. The iteration condition is, so if I want to display this range, I want to take for I in range of 5. I in range of 5 will be taken. So for by taking the value from range of 5, what should I do? I should display this pattern, isn't it? Here instead of this space, we'll be having colon here. So I'll be printing 1 colon 1, 2 colon 2. This is the pattern I wanted. So what is the expression I want to implement? I'm taking a range from here. By default state takes with 0. If it is not mentioned, your for loop takes from 0. So I'm going to mention I colon, okay, I power 2. Is it clear? Just I'm taking a value. What does this expression will take a value from 1 to 4. Okay, and I'm taking the value, and what is the expression I'm trying to do? And the expression I should do is I need the first number and followed by power of it. And after doing this operation, I should make it as a dictionary. Now if I execute it, you can notice that a dictionary will be formed with the condition whatever we applied. So we didn't display it, right? We should call our my dictionary. Guys, is this clear? It is so simple. Yeah, iteration in the sense what is the range of value you're taking here and followed by, and what is the operation I should do. Yeah, I is initially 0, 0 and 0 power 0. So 0 power 2. And next I will be 1, 1, 1 power 2. And next I will be 2, 2, 2 to power 2. So we know that this I will be executed starting from 1 to 4. The same operation what you will do by for loop, the same thing I am doing by using dictionary comprehension, and I'm just typecasting to dictionary. If you mention this curly braces, it means that it is a dictionary type. Is this clear for all? Guys, if at all you have any doubt, you can let me know. This comprehension is very much important, guys, where you'll be repeating in list also. Come on, respond me soon so that I can move on next one. Okay. No doubts. You're clear. Yeah, I'll give you one more example there. Okay. Okay, fine. Let us assume here we are creating this one, right? You are mentioning this 0, 0 square, 1, 1 square, 2, 2 square, right? Instead of this, I want to just mention the even numbers alone. I don't want all the numbers square. I want to print the square of it only for the even numbers. If you're going to apply condition like this, then how can I do it? If I want to apply condition here, you can apply if condition. If my, you are taking this I value, right? You can apply condition here. If my I value modulo by 2 equals to 0. If it is equals to 0, then we'll add condition to it. Now let us execute it. You can find that the dictionary will print only the even numbers, not for all the numbers. Clear? So you can, I mention either like this or like this. So this is same as the same thing we'll be implementing for dictionary. This one tuples also. Tuples are what is that list also. Okay, I'll show you during the list comprehension how to implement all those things. Okay, I guess you people are clear so far with how to create a dictionary in multiple ways. We have seen directly how to do it, and apart from this we have seen how to do it by using DICT method, and apart from this we have seen how to create a dictionary by using dictionary comprehension. Now we'll go ahead with how to access the element of your dictionary. So next topic is accessing your dictionary. So what is the dictionary? You can take it, you can take some dictionary, you can create it. My dictionary assign. So right now let me initialize here. 1 assign Sugan and 2 assign 34 and 3, 2 assign 25 and 3 assign. Okay, some values I'm giving, key and values. Now let us take this particular dictionary, and here I want to fetch only the values in this dictionary. In those cases I can mention dictionary dot values. So only the values will be fetched from the dictionary. Okay. So only values will be fetched. If at all you want the keys alone, I can mention dot keys. So what happened? Only keys will be fetched here. Okay. If I mention values, value will be fetched. If I mention dot keys, keys will be fetched. If you want both the item, directly you can mention my dictionary here. You can mention directly my dictionary, or you can mention my dictionary dot items. If you mention my dictionary or my dictionary dot sorry ma, should be dot items, then you can able to find all the items. So these are the different approaches for accessing a dictionary. So if you want to access it either by using key or by using values or by using direct name or by mentioning dot items method, by mentioning any one of the approaches, you can able to access your dictionary. And next is we'll move on to the built-in methods. What are the built-in methods available? Your first method is copy. So if at all you want to copy one dictionary value to the other dictionary, I can make use of copy method. So I can mention my DICT. Just a minute. Okay. I'll mention this instead of using this big name. I'll mention this D2 assign my DICT dot copy. So directly dot copy method. So if I mention like this, and when I'm trying to print this D2, you can notice that the data of my dictionary will be copied to D2, and I'm trying to print it, D2 will be initialized with this value. Either you can use this approach, or you can just declare some variable directly, and you can just use assignment operator. Here, dictionary 3 assign dictionary 1 or 2. So if I mention my D3 assign D2, and when I'm trying to print my D3, you can notice that even now the data will be copied. Either by using copy method or by using direct assignment operator, it is easy. Okay. And next is, if at all you want to clear the entire dictionary, I'll be using clear. So I can mention this D3 dot clear. So now I'll try to print this dictionary. You can notice that the dictionary has been cleared and only the empty dictionary has been displayed here. And next is, if you want to update one dictionary with the other dictionary, then I can make use of update method. And here inside this update method, you're supposed to pass only other dictionary as a parameter. For example, let us take one more dictionary. What is the dictionary I can take here? My DACT3, is it okay? Just a minute. My DACT3. So this is one dictionary, and we'll take D2 as other dictionary. So these are the two. D2 is empty. Okay. D3 value is there. It is also empty. Then my DACT. Okay. So let us take these two dictionary. DACT3 and my DACT. Let us assume I want to update this DACT3 with this my DACT. So I can update like this. My DACT3 dot update. So by which I should update it? I should update by using DACT. So here I'll mention my DACT3. So now you can notice that your DACT3 will be updated with the value of my DACT. Both the values are same. No. You can notice the second values. Here this my DACT has a value Sugan, and this value has a Sam. Now what happened? This particular my DACT values has been updated. Completely it is updated with the values of my DACT values. Shamruddin, good question. Your key should not be duplicate. Your values can be duplicated. Your key should not be duplicate. Key should be unique. Okay, this is all about update. And next is pop method. Here in case of pop in the sense we know that removal of the data, right? So pop accept two parameter, one is key and other is value. Among this, your value is the optional one. Your value is not a mandatory one. Your values are optional. Values are optional one, but key is a mandatory one. Let us assume this is your dictionary, my DACT. I want to remove this particular second data. I can just mention my DACT3 dot pop, and here I should pass my key as my parameter. Here what is the syntax I told you? Key and values are the parameter. Here value is the optional one. If required you can pass it. If it is not required you can pass just key alone. So what happened? The concern element will be popped out, and when I'm trying to display remaining data, you can notice that 1 and 3 will be available. The key 2 will be popped out. So by using this pop method, a specific value can be removed. Okay. And next is one more method is available to remove it. That is nothing but pop item. The next method is pop item. Your pop item will start removing from your right end. So now let us assume this is a dictionary, right? Now if I mention my DACT 3 dot pop item, if I call this one, you can note call this one and let me display my DACT3. So right now only these two data is there. Just I'm calling this pop item. If I execute this, you can notice that this particular data will be removed. From the right end, the data will be removed. So this data is removed, and right now the value is available is 1 Sugan is available. This data is removed. Now again, if I'm trying to execute this data, you can notice that even this will be removed. Right now it will be empty data. So keep in mind that pop item will start removing from your right end. It will traverse from deletion will happen from right to left. One by one element will be removed. Okay. And this is all about your deletion operation. And next method apart from this, we are having certain methods. Those are, you can make use of get method if you want only keys alone. Already we know that if you want to access key, I can use dot keys method. Apart from this, we can use get of key. So I can able to pass a key and I can able to fetch a value of it. And I told you apart from this, what are the methods are available? If you want to accept key alone, there is a method called keys available. And if you want to accept values alone, there is a method called values available. And if you want to get both the items, there is a method called items available. All those things we have seen. Now I'll show you the example of how to get keys alone from your dictionary by using this get key method. So right now, let me declare some dictionary. Let me give a small name instead of using this big name. Let me give D1 and let me give 1 and string as apple and 2 and string as orange, 3 and string as grapes. Okay, now we are going to do manipulation in it. I want to get keys from it. By passing a key, I want to get a value. So I can mention d1 dot get, and here what is the get parameter? I told you if you pass the key, the corresponding value will be displayed. Here let me give get of 1. So if I give get of 1, you can notice that apple will be displayed. So if you pass this corresponding key, the corresponding value of the key will be displayed. This is the use of the get method. So for retrieval of the data, I can use get, items, values, anything. It depends upon your flexibility. Whatever your requirement is there, you can make use of it. Is this clear? These are the methods available. I covered majority of the methods has been covered here. Do you have any doubt on it? If at all you have any doubt, you can let me know, guys. Okay, fine, good. Yeah, index accessing is not available, Shamrudin. That is the reason we can make use of this get method. Indexing is not available. So you want to show the built-in methods. Okay. Just have a glance of it. Reverse in the sense how you are asking you want to reverse the entire dictionary. Mostly you will never get operation for reversing a dictionary. You'll never get this type of questions. You can reverse the data in a dictionary. Each and every key value can be reversed. Okay, what is the question? Items means both key and value. Yes, items means both key and value only. What happened? Yes, items are both. Just a minute, I'll see to it. Multiple question. Pop will delete a element whatever the index value you're passing in. Key will be passed. But in case of pop item, Prakash, if you're using pop item, what happen? It will start deleting from your right end. One by one element will be start deleting from your right end. Okay. What is it, Yashwant? At the starting? Which one, Yashwant? I couldn't get you. What is your question? Where you're asking? Which line can you able to specify it, Yashwant? Okay, guys, I'll attach it. Okay, we can slice. So if people are trying to access this indexing, let me show you what happens. It's not possible, guys. Indexing is not possible. If indexing is not possible, slicing is also not possible. Okay. Pop item follows, yeah, last in first out. It follows this approach. You declare one. Yeah, I'll try it as attach as a PDF mark. Okay, I'll attach by today. Don't worry that today it will be done. For sure it will be done. Okay.